Good afternoon. My name is John Dubsky, and as many of you know, I'm a deacon with Brother Ron Peterson's church, which also sends his greetings in Phoenix, Arizona. For the next couple of minutes, I'd like to talk to you on my friend Brother Ernie, in which our friendship spanned over many decades. We first met in Orlando, Florida at Calvary Assembly there on Interstate 4 in 1978. And of course, we hit it off right away because Brother Ernie was a very enthusiastic, energized individual, and I admired those qualities that Ernie possessed. There we loved the worship, we loved the singing, and the enthusiasm of the Pentecostal people, and attended there for about 3 to 4 years. At that time, there was a minister that ministered there, which was married to the pastor's granddaughter named Benny Hinn, which you all are very familiar with. And there he was in the very infancy of his ministry, and many times we sat on the steps of the church and spoke with Benny Hinn when he was young. And Ernie and I, we just remained friends, and so much so that he moved in and we became roommates. Well, as time went on, we got a little disillusioned with the antics of the Pentecostal church and the way they operated, and Ernie went on to PTL, Praise the Lord, and a club there in the Carolinas with Tammy and Jim Baker, and decided that he wanted to go and attend a complete missionary school. I, at that time, went on to the Washington, D.C. area and continued my career in club management on an intelligence base in the Washington, D.C. area. Him and I kept in contact continuously, and from time to time we would visit each other in our residing areas back and forth. And one day, as Ernie was finishing down there, he met a man by the name of Ernie Marchion. And Ernie introduced Ernie to the message of the hour. And one day I got a call, and Ernie said, "John, I found it." And I said, "Ernie, I think I've heard this song and danced before." I was getting ready to go to Europe for a job that was offered to me. And I said, "Ernie, I'll be back in 3 years. You can tell me all about this new revelation you found, this new church you have found." He said, "No, John, you have to read it now." And he was persistent and insistent that I would read these books, A Man Sent from God and the Revelation of the Seven Seals. Of course, at that time, with no spiritual understanding, this was completely over my head, so no sparks flew when I read this. In fact, I said, Ernie, it sounds to me like you're following a man." But Ernie was persistent, and he would not stop. And so he said, "Brother John, I will pay you to read this last book." I said, "Well, if you're going to pay me, no problem. I'll read it." So he sent out a book called The Exposition of the Seven Church Ages. And after I completed this book, now everything started to change for me. Little did I know the journey that I was ready to embark in. Little did I know that this friend of mine that I had met through Pentecost was a carrier of the word. And I was one of many that would be ordained to receive the word from this carrier. I decided to cancel my position that I'd been offered in Europe. And at that time, I moved to Phoenix, Arizona to Brother Roy Carpenter's church, where Ernie attended in Mesa, Arizona. And for 3 or 4 years, I started to get a glimpse of the foundation of the message of the hour, the forerunner to the second coming of Christ, and the word that he brought to this generation. At that time, I believe that Ernie was very instrumental in me coming out to Mesa. And when I met my wife, now of 33 years, I felt that Ernie would be the one to be my best man. And so he said, yes, I will. And there, Ernie was the best man at my wedding, 1988, November. Soon after that, within a year or so, maybe a year and a half, Ernie moved up to Washington State, but we always kept in contact the whole time. We were roommates the second time in Mesa, and I used to help Ernie duplicate his tapes as he would go from Kirby office to Kirby office and speak for the ones, giving them enthusiastic speeches on how to sell Kirby vacuum cleaners. And I was part of that time in his life and that season in his life. And I used to ride around with him in this big white Cadillac. And we go from office to office in California and Arizona and Nevada and places all over. And Ernie would speak to the people, and I'd be in the back selling the tapes for Ernie. So Ernie had now moved to Washington State, and I had moved on as well with my wife, and I'd started a family, but Ernie and I kept in contact regularly. Over all the years, decades passed, many decades, possibly from 1978 to present. And always Ernie was a friend that I could count on for the rest of his life. He impacted my life greatly. He impacted my friend, Brother Andy Menard, and he impacted many others in the east region of the United States and the Philippines and many other parts of the world. Some I'll never know. But I know one thing. This man influenced a lot of people, introduced the message to a lot of people. And I really do believe on that day, a soul not only a crown of life, but a soul winner's crown will be given to him. I'm very thankful for him, for his influence in my life, for the direction that he set course for my life. And I miss him. God bless you.